Hello and welcome to Twitter Bootcamp. This is Josh Oakes. I'm excited to give you tactical tips today from many different brands on social media on how they're using Twitter successfully and a bunch of formulas so you can cut through it all and be successful yourself. Let's jump right on into it today and let me show you a few things that we're going to learn. First of all, key takeaway number one, if you've heard from me in the past, when designing your voice on Twitter, we're going to keep it light, bright, and polite. Less than 100 characters, so we have space for people to retweet our stuff. Next, we're going to make sure it's valuable and shareable without us having to say, share this with your friends. And lastly, we're going to be proud of it if it ends up on a billboard the next day for many people to see. I've got the book coming out soon, Light, Bright, and Polite, How Businesses and Professionals Can Safely and Effectively Navigate Social Media. Key takeaway number two, if you've heard from me in the past, great messaging is the key to making social media more effective for business, not technology or fancy buzzwords. And key takeaway number three, you're going to hear from me today. Rather than using the word strategy, we're going to say, what's our goal? And the goal will define the strategy. And once we figure out the goal and we keep asking why, we'll get down to either we want people to buy our product or we want people to visit our store. Things that are really, really effective and quantifiable, and that will define the strategy. Also, instead of engagement, we're going to look for a response from people. So when we say, hey, we would like to be very highly engaged on social media, well, actually what we're going to do is say, what response do we want from people? Is it a comment, a like, a retweet, or do we want them to pick up the phone and call us, which will lead into our goal, which will define the strategy. And next, let's start offering value and asking for nothing in return. Let's make it all about the fans. And when you make it all about the fans, you get more fans, and then you get more responses, and it leads into the goal. And that builds a community. Without even knowing it, you've built a community. All right, let's jump on into the next step, which is going to be a Twitter jumpstart. I want to give everybody up to speed for those of us that maybe aren't using Twitter as much. Twitter is a great tool for sharing small updates with your customers and friends. Reach them several times a day without clogging their inbox. Some of our biggest clients say, Josh, I don't want to tweet more than once a week, because they understand how email works and they think when we tweet, it delivers it to their inbox. Well, it actually doesn't. Imagine Twitter is the Wall Street Journal. People go to it when they're interested in learning more, and then they can interact with each tweet almost as if it is a small article on the Wall Street Journal. Okay, next. An @reply is when you're talking to someone and you want them to notice that you're mentioning them or giving them credit in your conversation. Example, we're listening to @Josh Oakes discuss Twitter in Social Media Bootcamp. If you said this about me and I were to log in, I would see my mentions or my @replies, if you will, and then I can interact with that and so on. So it's almost pinging me saying, hey Josh, now that you're logged in, look at all the people that are using your name and directly linking back to you. And they're inviting you to either comment, retweet, or respond to this in some way. Next, a direct message or a DM is similar to a short email. It's private and direct to your inbox. Now users, this is interesting, users can only DM your account if you follow them, and as soon as you unfollow them, they can no longer DM you or direct message you. So an @reply is public, a DM is private. Kind of interesting. And it's short and direct to your inbox, almost like a really short email, 140 characters or less. All right, let's move on to the next one. Now, hashtags. This is what everybody's talking about. Hashtags are used, and I'm going to be very specific because I want you to use these formulas successfully for yourself. Hashtags are used to group conversations that reference an event, a topic, or a region. Keep those in mind. Whenever you're using hashtags, I want you to carefully consider not using them, A, and B, ask yourself, is this around an event, a topic, or a region? Okay, these are the hurdles. Example, I just bumped into one of the speakers at the conference. I'm off to get some lunch, CES 2012. CES stands for the Consumer Electronics Show, and this is in Las Vegas. It's a huge conference, and you can see that it is an event, and it is a region. It happens in Vegas every year. So what we do is we make sure that these are conversations around a group, event, and a region. It doesn't have to pass all the hurdles, but it definitely has to be in one of these buckets. Next, use search.twitter.com to see what's popular and what's working. Before you ever use a hashtag, I want you to go look at what's being used out there. Now, a lot of people ask, Josh, how do I build a hashtag or register it? Is it like a copyright or a patent, or do I go to Twitter and sign up for it so that I own it? No, you actually just start using it. It's like a secret code or a token, if you will. If you just start using it, then people will see that it's there. Now, an important note is when you include a hashtag, it turns into a rollable, clickable hyperlink, and it takes people away from your tweet. So if you have a link right next to it, it will take people away from what you're trying to get them to click on and actually have them click on all kinds of other conversations that include that. So go to search.twitter.com to see if it's actually being used for some other. If you're using MLB, that is also used for Major League Baseball. So you need to be careful in search. I always avoid using hashtags unless it's absolutely necessary. Let me show you examples of good hashtags. When I ran for city council in Hermosa Beach, California, we realized that city locals were tracking local news using hashtag Hermosa Beach. Notice how the uppercase and lowercase actually don't matter. So I uppercase Hermosa, the H, and uppercase the B for beach, but I lowercase the rest of it. And the reason I do the uppercase beach is because your I goes Hermosa, and then, oh, another word, beach. And I don't put a space here, because if you put a space, it's actually only a hashtag Hermosa, and then it's the word beach. So I want you to understand that. And the reason I use that is because I saw a lot of hashtag locals were using Hermosa Beach. If you use hashtag Hermosa, it actually was a Spanish word for beautiful, and people around the world that speak Spanish and from Spain and Central America, South America, and Mexico use hashtag Hermosa. Okay, listen to me in my little Spanish accent right there. Okay, CES 2012, this is an event with thousands of group conversations that doesn't last long, and you can be a part of that group conversation. You should be asking, Josh, how do I find a hashtag that's official? Well, if you want a hashtag for your TV show, go to the network or the TV show website and find out if it's The Bachelor. Are they calling it Bachelor 2012? What hashtag are they using it? Usually it's on the website. And if you're a business and you want to set your own hashtag, let's say you own a conference, company, an event, or a topic that you want to talk about, or a region, first you start with search.twitter.com, find out what's not being used. Next, start using it on your website or using it in your tweets, and tell people, if you attend this event, use this hashtag to talk about what's happening here. Next, KKTNY, Kim and Courtney Take New York. Now this is a Kim Kardashian type of thing, but this was set on TV during the event, during the TV show. They put hashtag KKTNY, so when you're talking about it, you can track what people are saying live while you're sitting on the couch watching it. So it's very smart how they're doing that. SB46, the official Super Bowl 46 hashtag. It was on superbowl.com. It's also on TV, and as you're talking about hashtag the Super Bowl, you can put SB46 at the end. I'm going to show you why these are significant and how you can use these even more. TexSen. It's a Texas senator political hashtag followed by the press, and that's why you would use that. The press follows updates and so on that have TXSEN. And ML Tips. It lets users share and track social media tips. And typically at our media leaders conferences and large in-person boot camps, because they are an event, they're around a small region, and they're around a topic, we'll put ML Tips, and people will hashtag that. Here's an example of when not to use a hashtag. Remember, I'm not a huge fan of hashtags unless they meet these three hurdles: event, a topic, or a region. I cannot emphasize that enough. Next. Try not to use a hashtag if you have an @ sign under the exact same name. Let me repeat myself. Here's an example. @MediaLeaders, my company name, versus hashtag #MediaLeaders. The reason for this is I don't want people to sometimes hashtag media leaders and then click on it and find other conversations. I want them to be able to click on @MediaLeaders and follow us. I want their friends to learn that we're a real live company, a team, and I want to get followers out of this, because remember, my goal is to get followers, to get people back to the site, to sign up for email. I have to get real customers to pay the bills, and this leads to bill paying more than a hashtag. Okay, next. Don't make your hashtag too long. Try for less than 8 characters. That's another reason for this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, plus a 13. See how that would be 13 characters? That's pretty darn long. And so try it for less than 8 characters. SB46 is a great example. TextSen is a great example. KKTNY is a good example too. They're all pretty short. The goal of a hashtag is to group conversations that reference that, not to have a really, really long. I've seen some companies with 15 to 20 characters. It's too long. Next, play devil's advocate for negative responses. What could go wrong? I was recently, a few months ago, quoted in an article where a very large hamburger company, McDonald's, used a hashtag that ended up turning out to sound really bad, and people were using that hashtag, and they said a hashtag called Mickey D's Stories, and it was all about stories of how your family visited McDonald's and stuff, and how great it was to grow up with McDonald's in your town. But kids would take it and go really bad. They say, oh, we would get drunk and go to McDonald's, and they would hashtag it Mickey D's Stories. And then all of a sudden the journalists would see this and they'd laugh and they'd start writing about it. And sure, it wasn't that many hashtags, but unfortunately the way they set up their hashtag wasn't very in line with what reality was. So that's why I don't like using them quite as much. There's a lot of downside. Remember to use them only use a hashtag in the case of an event, a topic, or a region. Try to keep the hashtags to less than 8 characters and use search.twitter.com to check popularity and use. You always want to do a little bit of research before you start something. Now, Josh, should I even worry about this? No, I wouldn't even use a hashtag. As passive conversationalists, you use hashtags to find out what are people saying about KKTNY, SB46, Hermosa Beach. But if you're trying to drive traffic to your customer or to your website to get new customers, I would not use them. I would only use them to find out what's happening in Iraq right now, how do we look at the Chilean miners, and find out what's happening live in Chile as this is happening. Those kinds of things are great passively to learn about. Another Twitter Jumpstart slide, anatomy of an effective Twitter bio. I'm going to walk you through examples, but first of all, I want you to use your full name or your business full name. Don't make it weird. Make sure your Twitter biography has your full real name or your company name attached to it, thus giving credibility and authenticity to your account and making you easier to find in search results. Remember, your customers want to find you. They want to understand quickly what you do. Use keywords. You have 160 characters for your Twitter bio, whereas each tweet is 140 characters, and you get to show the world who you are. Think of key search words for which you would like your profile to appear. Describe who you are and why people should follow you. Then choose an appropriate profile picture. There's some debate about what makes a great profile pic, but accepted wisdom is a clear square version of your business name. Remember the name of your business. It could be Armor Self-Storage, or it could be ABC Insurance Company, or XYZ Restaurant, or a face shot with an eye contact and a smile. If you are a brand or a retail, let's say the brand is you and people know of you, then put your face shot or a headshot with eye contact and a smile. That's going to be your best way to go. Make use of the web link feature. Be sure to use the web link area that Twitter provides and add a link to your web page. It's a vital way to tell people more about yourself and also authenticate your account. If you don't have a website to link to, cross-pollinate across social networks and provide a link to your LinkedIn or Facebook. All right, let's look at some examples. Pete Cashmore, he owns Mashable and runs it. He's the CEO, the largest independent news source covering web culture, social media, and tech. Updates from the Mashable staff. Tweet Mashable HQ for questions and comments. It links back. He's really well known for his headshot, and so he's used that. Other companies probably would put Mashable. Now, this is me. This is my personal but yet professional one. So it says Josh Oakes. It's a great picture with a headshot with eye contact and a smile. Follow me for adventure, piloting, playing, surfing, sailing, public speaking, and business plus travel. My social media day job is at Media Leaders. It takes advantage of providing a web link that directs followers to my website as well. So people can get to know me and then more about the company and so on. Twitter Jumpstart, things to avoid on your Twitter bio. Don't use quotes in your Twitter bio. Don't waste space on a quote or something that has nothing to do with you or your business. You might live and die by someone else's words, but your followers want to know about you, not the people you admire. Use quotes as actual tweets instead. So motivational quote, probably not going to be the best fit. Tell people who you are. Don't be generic. This is the time and space to differentiate yourself from others. Be specific about what you do and who you are. Give users a reason to follow you. A little personalization doesn't hurt either. Try not to use hashtags in your bio. Don't overrun your Twitter bio with hashtags like SEO, marketing, internet business, blogging. This is difficult to decipher and uncreative. It also looks like a spam bot got in there. It's really shady. And don't leave your bio empty. Your bio is a quick snapshot of who you are and can be critical in gaining more followers. It's also consistently indexed by Twitter and is important for SEO purposes. You become more searchable by the keywords you provide. All right, great. Let's look at some examples of bad Twitter bios. Here's a bad picture. We can't clearly see who this is. Renee Corday. It's not a full name. Do we know if it's a real person? And then a very vague description tells us nothing about who the user is or why we should follow them. Do many companies really need to ask the question, why are your business unsuccessful or fail, really? And very vague. So here's another one. Barmolly 27. This bio makes no sense. Too overrun with hashtags, no website provided. This looks like a spammer. Not a real picture and not a real name. And it's Russia. Instant follow back, team auto follow. You can tell you should notice this is quite a bit interesting, as if this isn't a real person. Okay, reasons why retweets are important. Let me outline the anatomy of a retweet. In my book, I have a whole chapter just about testimonials. Retweets allow us to show our followers that testimonials from happy customers, and testimonials are a really important part of social media. Not buzz, not all this stuff. It's say, hey, we're a real company, and for free we're interacting with people and getting responses. We want to show those responses publicly. Next, retweets allow us to show our followers customer service that benefits many users with a helpful answer. What I mean here is, if somebody has a question, you can answer with an 800 number and the question involved, so other people can see, if I have that question, I call this 800 number. I'm going to give you examples of that. Also, it's going to show activity and engagement to stay front of mind with customers. And let me show you 2 ways to retweet. Next, native retweeting is used to duplicate the original tweet on your profile without adding any characters. Native retweeting. Imagine if you want to repost someone's tweet on your profile. It's useful when the tweet is already close to 140 characters, so there's not enough room to add comments, and if it's complementary to your brand, similar to a testimonial. Okay, remember this testimonial is very important to me. So here's a tweet. I started using Skin ID. This is from Neutrogena, who we've worked on a lot. Again, and my face is so clean. And then there's a link to a picture. So, and then here's the picture of the actual customer taking a pic of herself after she's used Skin ID, the Neutrogena brand, and she used a hashtag. We don't actually use the hashtag for that brand, but we found it because she spelt it. Even though she spelt it wrong, it's great. So what we did is we clicked the retweet button and we natively retweeted on our bio. Now, so that's the old school retweet, and it's linked on our bio, and you can see it in there. I'll show you another example of that. Next, 2 other ways to retweet. Quote retweeting is used to share great content with your followers while adding your own comment in front or back of the tweet. Quote retweeting is really popular on iPhones and Hootsuite. Let me show you. The original message by a radio station in Los Angeles might look a little bit like this. What's in your cup this morning, Monday morning? Coffee, tea, or a latte? Here's what somebody might quote for iPhone users, those of you that have the Twitter app on your iPhone. You would click the retweet quote button, and it would auto-populate these quotes. What's in your cup this morning? Coffee, tea, or a latte? Via Power 106, the radio station. And then it'll add it'll add your character here. I put a little dash and I put I love Starbucks, so you can see the question and you can see the answer. Does that make sense? If you just answered, hey, Power 106, I love Starbucks, then everybody that lands on your profile, your Twitter profile, your page, will think that they're not part of the conversation and they're a third party, and they'll have to like click a certain button to see the whole conversation, and it's kind of annoying. But by doing it this way, everyone is a part of the conversation, and you'll get more followers eventually. Now, next, retweeted message. This is if you use Hootsuite or TweetDeck. Here's what it looks like. It'll actually, if you click the retweet button, the old school retweet in Hootsuite, which is a very popular account system, it'll retweet what's in your cup this morning, coffee, tea, or a latte, and it'll put the username at Power106 originally said that. It'll put the retweet plus a colon in front of it, and it puts your cursor in the beginning so you can add it in the beginning. I love Starbucks. And then you're answering the question from Power 106 that sits at the end. So 2 different ways to do it. Neither one of them is right or wrong. It really depends on whether you're using an iPhone, our Hootsuite, TweetDeck, and so on. I hope that makes sense. I want you to include your question in there, and then if you have an answer, include it in there. Especially with customer service, this is a great example. If you have a brand and people ask you questions, or if people are wondering about housing in the area or buying a house in the city that you are a realtor, or public storage in the city that you're a public storage company, or they're moving, or you just want to answer questions because you're a wine store and you want to tell people, hey, go have this Merlot with your dinner because it's going to be great. You include their question plus your answer. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Here's an example of an old school retweet message. This is through Hootsuite. You've got Neutrogena, very clear version of their graphics. Notice how the clear square version of the actual brand, Skin ID, Neutrogena Skin ID. What a great pick. Thanks for sharing. So what somebody actually did is say Skin ID finally came in, happy face, and there's an Instagram pic of it. Great. We retweeted it and we added our stuff at the beginning. What a great pick. Thanks for sharing. Retweet of what JenPort14 said. And people can see this on our Twitter profile that there's happy customers out there. So outsiders are part of the whole conversation, and they see the picture and so on. Let's move on to the next. Here's an example, as you can see, of a native retweet. Let's take the anatomy of this page, which is a pretty good page. You've got 2,000 followers. Neutrogena Skin ID is the only acne solution that is personalized to meet the unique needs of your skin. Call us. See how clear that is? Based in Los Angeles, we have a special link right there. It's at Skin ID, and this is a clear square version of the logo. Very professional. Now, what's interesting is if you zoom in just a little bit here, you can see that this tweet was natively retweeted. And what it does is when it natively retweets, rather than showing our logo, it shows Leah's logo that says, my skin ID finally came in today. Yay for clean skin. And it shares this tweet with all of our followers. And it's as if Leah was sending it to them. So people that land on our page can see that Leah now is now on our page. So and that's because it's a great testimonial. It doesn't need any tweaking, and we want people to see that. Okay, perfect. Another key takeaway. You can expect what you inspect, therefore always review your messaging before it is sent out. You've heard this from me before. We're going to work on some messaging. Let's plan out our Twitter messaging. Steps for success. As you've heard in the past, craft each message separately in a separate document before you copy and paste it over. This is going to help by reducing errors. It's also going to keep your brand on voice. It's almost as if working out makes you feel better and you lose weight and people want to hang out with you and there's just a ton of reasons why you do this. It's incredible. So I want you to plan your messaging out a little bit ahead of time. Plan. Use this formula for most tweets. Another reason you plan is because you end up spending less time in the long run on Twitter when you have a little bit of planning involved. Therefore, you actually put Twitter into your schedule rather than it overtaking your schedule. Use this formula for most tweets. Category, which I'll show you in a sec, it could say new blog or new music or just in, plus a question, and this will be a who, what, where, why question. Remember, I don't like yes or no questions. I want you to consider saying who's up for grabbing ice cream this week with our team, and then a call to action. Click here to sign up, and then a link. There's always a CTA, a call to action. Okay, here's an example that you've probably seen before. Here's the day of the week. This is just Monday's messaging. Here's the date of the month, so you can do some sorting. Time of the day, local time for where you want to, the time that you estimate that your customers would be most influenced, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. It could go to 8 p.m. This is Facebook. This is where it's going to be sent. All these to Twitter and these to Facebook. And here's the message. Here is a link. And here's a calculator and schedule and so on. And then approvals is really, really important. All right, let's move on to the next page. Next steps, how to design your voice. Here's a bunch of steps for success. This is a really good and important slide that I want you guys to take note of. First of all, we always keep it light, bright, and polite. Short, valuable, and you're proud of it. If it ends up on the newspaper the next day for people to see. Then I want you to consider joining the conversation in your customer's head. Tweet with them in mind. If you watched video number 1 from day 1, the intro jumpstart video, you saw the 8 questions that you need to answer about your customers in order to join the conversation in their head. Then I want you to write out your tweets in a separate document, as I've shown you, which is very important. Plan a week ahead of time around new products, announcements, news, calendar items, holidays. You know what's going to happen next week for the most part. And social media isn't as fly by the seat of your pants as you may think. We do this for really big brands. It's not much different for yours. You're thinking, Josh, you don't know my brand. No, but I know your customers because we work in a ton of different avenues, and a lot of the verticals that we work in all talk to the same customer. They're either trying to get that customer to vote, to sign up, to visit, or to do all kinds of different stuff. Next, here's a formula for your tweets that would be for success. A category plus a question plus a call to action plus a link. Let's give you an example. This would be for the radio station. I use brackets to just set it aside. New music. Consider this as the subject line of a mini email. New music. It grabs people's attention. They know, okay, we're about to read about new music. Who likes hip hop? Vote on your favorite song. Boom. There's a category, new music, plus a question. Who, what, where, why, or when, right? Vote on your favorite song. Boom. And then there's a link. Typically, the link could be power106.com with some Google Analytics. We'll show you that in another video. Another example, new pictures. Doesn't need to have the brackets this time. Categories don't have to have brackets. I'm just using it for fun. New pictures. Who watched the Grammys last night? We have pics here. I put a fun little arrow. You don't have to. And then I put a bit.ly, and they would usually have a / with 6 more characters. But I think you get the idea. Category plus question plus call to action plus link. Use 2 out of these 3 or 3 out of the 4. Use 3 out of the 4 to be successful in just about every tweet. But this is a formula for success. You can put the category at the end too if you want to. Notice how I don't have hashtags in there because they typically don't help smaller brands. They're great as a passive listener that wants to do stuff, but smaller brands typically are not going to make you more successful if you use hashtags. You're welcome to go try them, but we've done a lot of testing on that. Here's a sample Twitter deployment calendar. Josh, when do I send tweets out? Just give me a roadmap so I can tweak it for my own business. Well, great question. Here's some samples. 8:30 a.m. is a quote. You could send out a positive quote that's light, bright, and polite from a great leader that's well known, and maybe it helps your fans. It doesn't need to say retweet to share with your friends. It could just be something cool, and they end up retweeting it because it's light, bright, and polite. Then you can ask a general question for engagement. No promotion, just what's in your coffee cup this morning, or what's your favorite part of having a roommate, or do you have a roommate, or something like that. Who, what, where, why questions are going to be the best. Retweet an engagement answer at 10:30. Include a friend's @ sign, perhaps, and then your friend sees that you're engaging with them. That's cool. Retweet of something light, bright, and polite from other users. This is the engagement side of thing. And then in the afternoon, this is a sample. Use this, test it out. You can ask a specific question about something new and link it to your site. What do you like better? Justin Timberlake as a singer or an actor? Vote here. And this would be for the radio station where they want visitors to their site. You could say something about your products. What's your favorite new? We have 3 new couches in our showroom. What's your favorite? Red, blue, or green? Click here and then retweet to vote. Something like that. Give people something cool, and they're visiting your site to learn about your new couches that you sell in your furniture store. At 3:30, you could probably say, repeat the morning quote for your afternoon followers. So the morning quote up here, you don't need to retweet it. You can just repeat it. Why, might you ask? Well, Josh, why would we retweet stuff? I find it obnoxious when people post the same thing or multiple. Well, Twitter is different. 8:30 a.m. Imagine this is a TV show. Imagine you're watching Channel 4, and the 8:30 a.m. crowd on TV is very different than the 3:30 p.m. In fact, the news is the same. They'll repeat it and regurgitate it a little bit. So what you're doing is you're retweeting for a different crowd that's following you, because not everybody's logged into Twitter all day. We all have jobs and stuff to do, or kids, or spouse, or we got to get to work. So if you repeat it in the afternoon, it's okay, because not that many people will notice that you did it in the morning. So you're okay. And then you can repeat the general question for afternoon followers, which I had at 9:30 a.m., 5:30 p.m. Now, you can tweak the times, you can tweak the order, but this is a good example of what we use for really big brands day in and day out, and I want you to consider it just to get started. You don't have to do as much as this. You could just do an 8:30, 9:30, 10:30, 12:30 and space them out more. But I think you get the idea. Josh, what should I not do on Twitter? Well, good question. Try not to pre-program tweets more than every 15 minutes. Too much is a little bit too much. Also, you can retweet stuff every 2 or 3 minutes. That's fine, but try not to pre-program so that you're programming out 100 tweets a day. You just want to space them out. Look active, look alive, but don't be over alive and hyperactive. Don't fly by the seat of your pants and think social media is all here and now. Plan your messaging. If you're retweeting, keep it light, bright, and polite, okay? Don't fly by the seat of your pants too much. It doesn't have to be a here and now. Everybody thinks it does. I'm here to tell you the truth. You can plan your stuff out and be more successful. Try not to use more than 100 characters on Twitter. Save room for the retweets. And what that means is, if you're going to do an old school retweet like I showed you, if you only tweet with 100 characters, then it's going to allow somebody to click retweet old school wise and answer your question on the beginning. Their question can be 20 characters. Your username, which is included in that, is up to 20 characters. And then you've got 100 characters of your question, and therefore you've got 140 characters. So if you plan for success downstream, you're going to be better off. Don't respond to negative comments. Keep it light, bright, and polite. If somebody has a negative comment, go look at their Twitter profile. If they look like they're a spammer, meaning their clout is less than 20, if their clout is 20, 19, 18, or even less than that, they're probably a spammer that's just out there and no one's following. So you don't have to respond to everyone. If they have one follower, I'd just consider the source. Maybe they're just out there to cause trouble. You can DM them privately, but you don't actually have to. I call them the haters. Make sure find out if the hater is real or not. Don't be unclear. Engage people by telling them a story about a product, a service, or a topic. Here's an unclear message example. This is something that would probably be sent out by Charlie Sheen or some kind of a celebrity, and we don't want to be like celebrities on Twitter. Sustainable business and sustainable branding doesn't happen like a celeb does. OMG adorable, and then there's a link, right? That's something Charlie Sheen would probably say, and you're like, oh gosh, I have to click on it because he's kind of a train wreck, right? Here's a clear message example that your business could use with the same medium, 92 characters or less. I just found this adorable clip of a baby laughing. Did this brighten your day? ? And I put a little, notice how I put a little category at the end. You're letting people know you're going to click on a video. And then there's a link to a bit.ly. And when they click on it, there's this little tiny adorable baby that is giggling when its mom is blowing her nose. So, okay, so that's a great example. OMG adorable link. People aren't going to click on that. You're not going to fool people. But if you're clear and you write this out carefully, I just found this adorable clip of a baby laughing. Did this brighten your day? People are more enticed to know they're going to click on this. Boom, boom, boom. Click the link. They watch the video. Great. How do I deploy my tweets? All right, let me tell you what my team does. Now, I don't get paid by Hootsuite, but I really like them. We use Hootsuite for just about every one of our brands to schedule 2 to 7 tweets per day. It's going to allow your team to collaborate and have remote access to your messages. Now, Hootsuite's great because, well, here's why. You get to schedule your tweets ahead of time. No need to be in front of the computer as often. You can use whatever tool you want. There's also a tool called Buffer out there that's pretty cool. There's a tool called Timely. But here's the reason why I use Hootsuite or a tool that's in the cloud. I don't want to rely on just one access point for social media. People say, oh, I use TweetDeck on my computer or Seismic. Well, unfortunately, if it's just on one computer and that computer crashes, guess what? You're kind of SOL. So what I want you to do is consider having it in the cloud so everyone can access it, and then you can run a whole team. And you're then safer and more able to collaborate on stuff. And there's a better chance of your computer going down than their servers. All right, next. How to quickly gather followers. Here's a couple tips. Include your Twitter handle at the bottom of all of your emails. Follow me on Twitter. Remember the HTTP trick I taught you in past videos, http://twitter.com, Josh Oakes. If I click on this, see how my cursor changes? Now, if I click on this, it will go directly to Twitter. Follow my company. Now, typically these don't break line breaks. Typically they go all the way over and stuff, you can see. Now, another thing, notice how I actually put this text in my signature. People ask, Josh, I'm going to put cute little images that are really neat. Well, that's cool and all, but did you know that most iPhones, when they open it up, they won't show those images? So they just look kind of funky. So when you're trying to reach out to people for the first time, they just show these little weird boxes and they don't actually see the Twitter profile, and sometimes it gets sent back as spam. So what I do is I just put a clear call to action and my link. Follow me on Twitter. Boom. Follow my company. Boom. I could say learn more about our events. Boom. Right? So I want to make sure that you're clear. Gimmicks don't go very far. Also, consider including your Twitter name on your business card or anywhere that it's appropriate. In that case, you don't need to put twitter.com/Josh Oakes. Just put @Josh Oakes and put that on there, and people will know that's on Twitter. Perfect. Cool. All right. Now I'm going to jump into something really specific, and I want to show you the anatomy of a successful Twitter sweepstakes that we ran for Palms in Las Vegas. Let's jump right on into it. I'm going to show you step number 1 for this. Was kind of cool. Now, we first started by designing, I want you to notice this, we designed our Twitter sweepstakes by writing it out on a blackboard, or a whiteboard if you will. We design our sweepstakes offline. Whatever you do, if it's got moving parts, I want you to get old school and design everything offline. The Media Leaders team brainstormed how the sweepstakes would operate and outline key elements required to make the sweepstakes successful. All right, that's step 1. Get it old school. Remember, social media is not just all about here and now. It's a lot of planning. Next, if you're going to do anything to get people to like you or follow you on Twitter, you need to create rules that are easy to follow. Hey there, Palms Casino fans. We're giving away a one-night GTL package for one lucky winner. Here's how you can enter to win. Click tweet this button to enter to win on Twitter. Your tweet must contain this phrase. Your tweet must be posted between these dates. The official winner will be announced sometime during the week of. The winner must redeem their prize. And then we created a giveaway package. And the big giveaway package was the aw shucks package. Like, hey, I entered, but I also want to stay there. Let's reserve now. Gym Tan Liquor. GTL. It's like Gym Tan Laundry. Okay, let's go to the next page. GTL. We gave people an easy way to enter to win. Step 3. In this case, we've created a tweet button. Remember, our followers are so busy, you can't give them a ton of steps on what they need to do. We just created one button that says enter to win here. Tweet this. Click. And when they click that, there's a carefully crafted message that we designed that auto-populates in their inbox. How nice is that? What's happening? And then all they have to do is click this tweet button. And this is what it looks like. I want to win a one-night Vegas GTL package with drink ticks and VIP club access at Palms. Join me. Amazing. This is what it looked like when I tweeted it. Same exact thing. We carefully crafted this. All right, let's move on to the next. Then next, we created a community by showing visitors who's already entered to win. Notice how all this works. I want to win. I want to win. If people are already entered to win, well, I'm more enticed to go, maybe I should do this. Great. Next, we gave visitors the opportunity to reserve a Palms hotel room directly on their page. So once they had already filled out all this stuff, they could go there and just go, you know what, I'm ready to book. I want to go to this place. And that drives revenue and gets customers. And finally, we included all the elements I just showed you of the sweepstakes on one landing page. Notice how we have the title, GTL up top, Gym Tan Liquor sweepstake package, rules, enter to win here. We've got the community. You can go down here and just buy it. And here you can buy it as well. So you include everything on one page, and then each one of the links from the tweets drives people back to this page where you can buy, you can enter and share, and so on and so on. All right, so hopefully that's clear. Planning, detail, carefully crafted stuff, doing most of the work for your customers because they're super busy. And the goal is to get people to reserve rooms, pull out their credit card, and actually buy something. This is how we announced the winners, and this is how you can as well. We promoted the sweepstakes to our fans with carefully crafted tweets and reminders. We announced it. Rather than selling, we let the cool kids know. We're giving away a one-night GTL package, room, drink, tickets, and more to a lucky group of 4. Enter here. And then we selected a winner and announced it in a timely manner. Congratulations to our grand prize winner for winning our GTL one-night VIP Twitter sweepstakes. Our start date was August 2nd, end date August 7th, and a growth of 500 Twitter followers in 5 days. Now, this wasn't a gimmick. This is a lot of hard work. There was no purchasing of fake Twitter followers. It's all real people. Here's the actual Google Analytics. As you can see on the page, the start date had about 400, and then 250 the next day, 175, and boom, boom, boom. See how much buzz we got the first day, and it slowly dragged out? Great. Okay, so that is a Twitter sweepstakes example, and we've run through a whole lot of stuff. Let me give you one more thing. Remember what I say? I talk about the haters. Those are the people that didn't win. Well, let me show you what we did, and you can use this for your business. For the 300 plus people who entered our contest but did not win, we wanted to give them a small token of our appreciation for entering the contest. Our goals here were to keep everyone happy, to drive visitors to Palms, to get people spending money and track the results. See how clear those goals are? Keep the haters quiet. Drive the visitors to Palms, get people spending money and track the results. In this case, we decided to give all participants a 2-for-1 drink coupon. We'll call it a BOGO for the Palms Casino Bar. We directed the Twitter participants to the official Facebook page where we created a custom tab where the coupon could be printed. Now, what's interesting is, let me read through the tweet. Didn't win our Twitter sweepstakes? Don't be sad. Everyone's a winner at Palms. Print out your 2-for-1 drink tickets here. This clicks over. It starts on Twitter, which is important to note. And then what it does is it cross-pollinates over to Facebook. So you click this link, it takes you to a Facebook landing tab that requires you to like the Facebook page. Once you've liked the Facebook page, you get this little coupon that you can print out. Buy one, drink, get one free. BOGO. Now notice carefully. Valid between these dates, we carefully crafted this, and only at Palms Las Vegas casino bars, so therefore it came out of Palms Casino's pocket. Value of free drink up to $10, and settle number. This is the number that the cashier would put in so that if they didn't know about it, they'd be like, okay, I'll put that in. Oh, it validated it. Great. All right, so hopefully that makes sense for everyone that didn't win. We keep everybody happy, and we drive revenue all at the same time. The anatomy of a great sweepstakes covers everyone. It's not just unsustainable for a couple winners, but it keeps everybody super duper happy. Hopefully that makes sense. And that's the end of the successful Twitter sweepstakes. And that is the end of Twitter Bootcamp. Thank you so much for watching. Those of you that watched this video, if you have any questions, you can comment below, and you can join us for our next social media bootcamp video. Thanks so much.